joined now by Annacotty manager Mike Aherne. Mike, new league starting Thursday evening for yourself. You obviously have regional United in your first game, but there's a new league format as already has been widely discussed, and you also intimated your concerns to us about the new league format for smaller clubs, maybe that players might be cherry picked. I suppose that will still be a concern from you heading into the new season.
I think it's a concern for anybody with a decent player, because if you don't get in the top six, they will be cherry picked by bigger teams, Adrian, and look, it just hasn't been thought out. I've heard some of your interviews with other managers. I'm not too sure anybody really knows how it'll pan out. For me, I don't think it's going to work. I think regardless, the bottom six teams will lose interest in the second half of the season by its very nature. Yes, there won't be 6 and 7-0 scorelines, but what you will get is similar kind of games where players aren't turning up and players have given up because they've nothing to fight for, and a trophy for 7th place. I mean, let's be honest about it. Who's honestly going to pick that up with pride and say, brilliant, we finished 7th? Because you want to be competing at the top, you want to be competing for the big trophies, but it's just not possible for some clubs.
Yeah, obviously it's a concern as well, and some other managers have said this as well, that it might leave a lot of dead rubber games towards the end of the first round. Even some teams maybe that don't want to actually be in the top 6, or some people and they could end up in a situation of maybe not go as far as throwing games, but maybe not too far off. But we have had those problems in the past.
Yeah, look, you can imagine if a team are in 7th and they've probably overachieved in the first half of the season, and they just ease off the pedal because they don't want to be playing Pike, Fairview, Janesborough week in, week out for the remainder of the season, because then you really will lose players because they just can't compete, and you will be going out getting beaten 6 or 7-0. So it's fine if the best 6 get there and the best 6 are competitive against each other, but what happens if 2 of those 6, which looks most likely, just won't be able to compete with what is going on at other clubs?
Yeah, you obviously mentioned earlier in another interview to us for the Limerick Post that you had lost a couple of players from last year's squad. Have you managed to replace them, and who have you been able to bring in the off-season?
I think we're lucky at this club, Adrian, in that we can call younger players up, and if people thought we were young last year, it's going to be baby-faced assassins again this year. But look, some of those players got experience last year. Yes, they were 15, yes, they were 16, but they've 6 months experience behind them now. The likes of Conor Arthur played in the FAI Senior Cup against Luke, and Owen Burke has been playing up, Roland O'Dwyer has been playing up, Christopher has scored a goal in the Premier at 16 years of age. So a lot of young lads will be stepping up. We've looked simply outside the Premier League to bring players in. We've 5 players in. None of them played Premier League football last year. A couple of lads in from Shelburne who were Division 1B. Mark McGrath, of course, who was fantastic pedigree. I mean, he's been looking sharp in pre-season. And Paddy Walsh, a lot of people will remember him from a couple of years ago at Regional. Very, very good, lively player, and hoping to get the best out of them. And Tommy Canty stepping up from youths. We're lucky we have the conveyor belt, and I know some other clubs just simply don't have that schoolboy or youth structure. We'll be calling them up, and time will tell whether they're good enough or not. Yeah,
we're standing here, Mike, on the new grass pitch, which is almost ready. Obviously, you have behind us here, we've got the new dressing rooms, the new community centre. You can see the new Annacotty logos, everything. It's all bright at the moment for the club, and you have Liverpool legends coming, obviously, in September 7th. So off the field, I suppose, with all the excitement, the club and the committee maybe might find it hard to concentrate on the season ahead, but you'll obviously be hoping that the players will be fully focused come the start of the season as well.
Yeah, and look, they will be. They've done a really good pre-season, between Eddie, Brian, Mark, Mike. We've had a great backroom team involved with them in pre-season, but look at the facilities they're coming to play in. I mean, it's second to none inside the new facilities. They're absolutely top drawer, and the grass pitch, which just gives us another aspect to the club, because we've had the Astro now for years. The grass pitch will be absolutely fantastic. You can see just little bits of it in behind there, but I think the clubhouse is the epicentre of everything that's going to happen. And whether the club or not ever can have the opportunity to take their eye off the ball, I wouldn't agree, because with over 900 playing members, you've really had to have the foot on the gas every week. But look, for us, it's about putting money into facilities. Other clubs choose to put their money elsewhere, but us, we're putting it into facilities, and that's long-term sustainability.
Yeah, obviously, as well as all the facilities, you mentioned the youth structure that you have here at the club, and look, even Limerick FC obviously would definitely be envious of this kind of structure at the moment. Would there ever be a situation in the future where, I know it could be long in the pipeline, that Annacotty would consider becoming a senior club, because we are crying out for a decent structure in this city,
Well, look, I think you have to aspire to that. If you have facilities like this, then why not aim high? And between under 6s, 7s, 8s, you come here on a Saturday morning, there's a couple of hundred kids having the time of their life, and they all have to aspire to something in the future, and maybe the League of Ireland route is the way to go. One thing is for sure, the Limerick Premier League might not be the way to go with what is going on there, because Ashling and Annacotty simply don't abide by the rules that some clubs are abiding by at the moment. And look, we'll build a club and we'll build a future and we'll build a sustainable product, and it's here for the kids of the area, community centre as well as that. And yeah, look, I think everybody knows, the dog in the street certainly knows, that preliminary talks have been held between Ashling and the FAI with a view to just opening up the possibility in the future. And all these kids are playing at elite level. Last week we had kids in Oakham and Barnsley playing in a tournament, with another team up at the Belfast Cup, another team at the Galway Cup.
Partnership as well.
The Celtic partnership. So, you know, the kids are having an unbelievable experience. They have the best of coaching with the Total Football Academy and the coaches at the club. So everything is focused on the right environment for kids to prosper.
Yeah, obviously I've spoken to another few managers as well, Mike, and you seem to be quite frustrated with the direction that certain clubs have taken in Limerick, maybe in the off-season and maybe in the last few years. And obviously we've spoken about this before. Maybe the standard of soccer in town has dropped, and maybe people see it that they're looking for short-term fixes all the time. And do you obviously feel that is the wrong way to go, and when the Limerick Premier is probably suffering for that?
Yeah, and it'll continue to suffer, because now the power is completely shifted to the players. The players will determine which clubs are strongest, and by that the strongest club will be the one that can attract the players through whatever terms they can offer. And it's a club's prerogative to go that way, I've absolutely no issue, but don't enter an amateur league if you're not an amateur setup. So yeah, I'd have serious grievances with it. Will it stop us competing against them? Absolutely not. Will it stop other teams competing against the Big Four or Big Five? Absolutely not. But it's very short term, it's very short-sighted by those clubs, and maybe if they put resources into facilities and even into underage structures and youth structures, maybe the future for everybody in Limerick City and County would be much brighter.
Yeah, you obviously play a club as well on Thursday night close to your own heart with Regional United. We discussed this before, as we thought you might have an FAI semi-final last year, but obviously there's been a lot of changes at Regional as well. You know, they have lost a lot of players. They've lost 3 lads to the League of Ireland. Is it maybe an ideal opportunity for you to play them, or is it always just dangerous to play Regional?
The one team you hate playing, because they just keep that ball and it's hard to get it off them. They probably don't punish enough teams because of the amount of ball that they have. And look, I'm sure it'll be no different on Thursday night, regardless of the turnover. And God, they've suffered over the last 3 or 4 years. And even with Pat McDonough switching to the Borough on Sunday, a very late blow for them, they'll still have a competitive 11. And luckily for Regional, they've started to bring through a good youth team who won the Youth Cup in Jackman only 3 or 4 months ago. And the likes of Ewan O'Brien and Jack O'Donovan and those lads will be coming through. And it's the way Regional have to go. Unfortunately, they keep on having to churn things over, while the best of their players have been cherry-picked. Without a doubt, it was great to see the likes of Jack Lynch go to Galway, Clyde go back up to Limerick, Alan Murphy go back up to Limerick. Clyde probably has played the most football out of all those lads. Can they justify going to senior without playing that much ball? Time will tell. But one thing is for sure, those lads came back to prominence because of their role at Regional. And unfortunately for Regional now, they have to pick it up yet again